We'll continue with economics A level, efficiency, chapter 8. Now, when we talk about efficiency, efficiency simply explains how the market mechanism allocate resources. So that's what efficiency is simply talking about, how best you are able to allocate your resources. So here I wrote efficiency explains how the market mechanism allocate resources, the best, how mechanism best allocate resources. One way of judging efficiency is to consider how efficiently it resolves the two fundamental questions in economics, which are what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce to. So because there's scarcity, so with scarcity, it is important for firms and the economy to be more efficient. If they are not efficient, it means they will continue to waste resources. That is why we have to measure how efficient they are. And to measure it, we have to judge it based on what they produce, how they produce it, and for whom they produce to. So efficiency is concerned with how well resources such as time, talents, or materials are used to produce an end result, which is output. So how well do you use your resources? How well do you use your workers? How well do you use your time? These are process that comes with inputs. How well are you able to use them before you produce the output? So in economics terms, it is concerned with the relationship between factors of production and output. So we won't talk about efficiency without putting into consideration the inputs, land, labor, or capital, because these are what goes through processing before it becomes output. So how well we are able to use them to reduce waste is what efficiency is about. Any questions about efficiency there?
No.
So what are the forms of efficiency that we have? We have allocative efficiency, we have productive efficiency, and we have dynamic efficiency. So we're going to start with allocative efficiency. Are you with me?
Yes.
So for allocative efficiency, we are simply talking about, sorry, please. So for allocative efficiency, we're simply talking about how resources are distributed in a way that it maximizes social welfare of the society. So here I wrote allocative efficiency. It applies to a state where resources are distributed in a way that maximizes social welfare, producing the goods and services most desired by society, and doing so at the lowest possible cost. So there's allocative efficiency if goods and services are produced to satisfy the society. So that means there's maximization of the social welfare. And when we talk about social welfare, it simply talks about consumption and production. So it means both consumers and producers are happy in the course of production. That is what social welfare is about. So there's allocative efficiency when the marginal benefit of a good or service equals to the marginal cost, ensuring that resources are used to satisfy the highest number of wants. So there's allocative efficiency if our marginal benefit equals to the marginal cost of production, which simply means that we will be able to satisfy the highest possible wants. That is when our MC equals to our MD. So we're going to start with marginal benefit. Why do we call it marginal benefit? We call it marginal benefit because this is the extra satisfaction that we derive from the consumption of an output. The additional satisfaction we derive from consuming an extra unit of output in terms of goods or services is called the marginal benefit. So whatever satisfaction we derive from consuming additional units must be equal to the amount we spend in producing the amount firms spend in producing that unit. So that's why we say MC must be equal to MB when it comes to allocative efficiency. So that's marginal benefit. Then for marginal cost is the cost of producing an extra unit of output. So the point where your MB equals to your MC, that is where we have allocative efficiency. Then for social welfare, I explained what social welfare is already before. It simply means that the well-being of the society is taken care of. And when we talk about the well-being of the society, we're not only talking about consumers. It also means producers. So here I wrote social welfare, the overall well-being of society. This implies the satisfaction of both producers and consumers. So what are the conditions that warrants or that brings about allocative efficiency? Number one, your MC must be equal to your MB. So that means your marginal benefit must equal to your marginal cost. Two, optimal distribution. And when we talk about optimal distribution, we're simply talking about resources must be allocated to produce specific mix of goods and services that the society desire. So you're not just going to produce, you're going to produce what the society desires. That is what optimal distribution is about. Then there's maximizing social surplus. It is still allocative efficiency if consumer surplus and producer surplus are maximized, because the combination of producer surplus and consumer surplus will bring about maximizing social surplus. So there's social surplus if both producer surplus and consumer surplus are maximized. Do you get that? So the graphical representation of allocative efficiency is this. We have it even on here, figure 1 here. Look, at figure 1, for the wheat, the cost of producing is higher than what firms are willing to pay. So look at that is for wheat. So let's go to electricity where there is allocative efficiency. The cost of producing an electricity here, the cost of producing is 4 at 4. Consumers are willing to pay at 6. But producing extra unit from that is producing at OE. Producing at OE means there's still allocative inefficiency because they are under consuming electricity. Get the point here. Now we are focusing on electricity where we have our MC and our D, which is our marginal utility, equals to our MC, which is our supply. S is marginal cost, D is marginal utility. S is social cost, is marginal cost, D is marginal utility. So the point where our D equals to S or MC equals to MD is where we have allocative efficiency, which is at electricity. So look at electricity again here. For electricity, increasing the output from OE to OF will bring about a price falling from 6 to 5. That is where allocative efficiency is. And for the graph analysis, which I did here, which is going to be on the screen, is this, where there's marginal utility here. Marginal utility equals to marginal cost at this point. This is allocative efficiency. In between here is allocative inefficiency. And why is there allocative inefficiency here? There's allocative inefficiency because consumers are under consuming at this point. The output level is faulty. Producing at 40, firms produce the cost of production is 6. Consumers are willing to pay 15 at this point. But the cost is this. Production, consumers are willing to pay this, but they are under consuming because the firm can still produce at 70. Production at 70 means prices will fall from 15 to what? What consumers will be willing to pay will fall from 15 to 11. So that is where allocative efficiency comes into place. So there's allocative efficiency where our S equals to D, or S meet at D, or our marginal utility equals to our marginal cost. So this is allocative efficiency. This is allocative inefficiency. There's allocative inefficiency here because there's underconsumption at output of 40. They can produce at 70. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Yes.
Any question about allocative efficiency?
No.
Good. So that takes us to productive efficiency. Are you there? So I think allocative efficiency is clear.
Yes.
Okay. So go to productive efficiency. Why do we call it productive efficiency? We call it productive efficiency because production is achieved at the lowest average cost. We call it productive efficiency because production is achieved at the lowest average cost. So this means utilizing the resources, all resources efficiently to minimize waste. So there is productive efficiency if a firm is able to minimize its cost, using the necessary resources available. That is productive efficiency. So for productive efficiency, there are some concepts in productive efficiency. We have to maximize our output, that is maximum output. Then we have to minimize our cost. And at the same time, we have to allocate our resources efficiently. So what is maximum output here when it comes to productive efficiency? I wrote, for maximum output, at productive efficiency, it is impossible to increase production of one good without decreasing the production of another. So that means there's always going to be opportunity cost when it comes to production efficiency. So given all resources are available and technology. So whatever we produce, when it comes to productive efficiency, there's always going to be an opportunity cost for the economy. Then minimum cost. When we talk about minimum cost, we're simply talking about productive efficiency if the cost of producing at a given level of output is the lowest. So it is productive efficiency if we are able to maximize our output. It is productive efficiency at the same time if we are able to minimize our cost. Then the next one is resource allocation. How do we allocate the factors of production? We have to locate the factors of production in the best possible way where our resources will be judiciously used. So it must maximize production and minimize waste. So all the factors of production that are going to be used in the course of producing a product must be maximized in terms of output of production and be minimized in terms of resources, wastage. It must not be wastage when it comes to productive efficiency. So for a firm, the graphical representation for a firm is below here in figure 2. A firm will be able to produce at output where the average cost is at the lowest, and the average cost is at the lowest at 0A, OA, sorry. So this is productive efficiency for a firm. OA is productive efficiency, where you have the lowest possible average cost of production, because as long as this is the optimum level, this is what we call the optimal level, the optimal level. Anything above it will bring about these economies of scale. So a firm is operating at this lowest possible output cost when there is productive efficiency. I think it's clear. Is it clear, please?
Yes.
But for an economy, this is for a firm. But for an economy, we have to use the productive possibility frontier. PPF, yes. So there's productive possibility, there's productive efficiency for a firm if it's able to operate at the lowest possible average cost of production. But for an economy, it has to operate on the production possibility frontier. That is productive efficiency. So for a firm to, or for an economy to operate, or for an economy to be productive efficient, it has to operate at the boundary, on the boundary of the PPF. And this is it. So these are productive possibility for production possibility frontier. So operating at the boundary here is productive efficiency for any firm or for a given economy. So point A, point B, it's productive efficiency. Point D, there's productive inefficiency here because the economy can still produce at outputs 21 and 27 without any opportunity cost. Here is unattainable. This is impossible. This is productive efficiency. This is productive inefficiency for an economy because they are unused resources. Is it clear? So for an economy, we use a productive production possibility frontier when we are explaining productive efficiency. But for a firm, we have to use average cost, where you have the lowest average cost, which is the optimal level. That is what productive efficiency is. Any question about it?
No.
So that's where we stop for today. I think, okay. So in the next class, we're going to talk about dynamic efficiency and inefficiency.
Yes.